Hi, everyone, and welcome to the special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the Love Is Podcast. I'm excited to welcome the host of the Love Is Podcast, Kim Sorrelle. Kim, how are you? And I know you're excited about our guest.
I am, and I'm doing great, Neil. Thanks. Yes, Enrica has a new book coming out. She has gone on this voyage that I cannot wait to hear about. Beads of Light. I think it's coming out March 20. You can tell me if I'm right on that. But it's it looks like it's going to be fantastic. Congratulations on the book. And I'm curious, what made you go on this journey of discovery to start with?
Right? What happened? Thank you for having me. Yes. It's available now for pre-orders, and I guess in the States you can have it like tomorrow, I guess. I just received mine today in Italy because I'm currently in Italy, living in Italy. But anyway, the journey of alignment, which is my story, is really about me sharing some of my life experiences, such as living and working in the States in the corporate world for 20 years, a successful career, whatever society says it's the right thing to do, the right path. And then deciding to follow the more, let's say, um, following my intuition and working on myself in a deeper level to help me move through some life challenges, such as the loss of my mother and extreme stress and anxiety, and going through the roller coaster of all these doctors wanting to give you medicine for whatever, let's put a band-aid everywhere. And then I just went through a period where I wanted to learn more, and then mindfulness was the gateway for me to experience all kinds of different things, because I'm a curious person and always like to study and learn new things. And so then that brought me to the energy cultivation practices such as Qigong and Tai Chi, and that's what I teach, and continue to expand in today. So that's my journey, but it's more about like what is really true for you, right? Why do we have to go down this route? And why is it weird and wrong that, as a woman, I don't have children or something? I mean, it might sound like silly, but now I'm back in Italy to be close to my father, and it's a very traditional culture. And, speaking about our expanded states of awareness is a little bit, maybe, it's opening up in Europe, of course, all over the world, but it's a little bit out there, and then some people are like, I don't know how to talk to you. That's okay. I mean, I'm so happy about that, actually, to be really weird and different.
Right. You decide to create what you want to create, it sounds like. You want the life that you want to create for yourself, not someone else dictate your life.
Exactly. And then I've always wanted to write, and I will continue to do so and teach. And since I was, in the hotel world, and I would learn something, and then they would just put me to train people because I just enjoy that, and managing a lot of people and being a leader is my nature. But I wanted to do it in a different way. So leading a life where actually not being so stressed because of whatever. I mean, I'm laughing now because I'm a joyful person, but there's times where people feel trapped. Like, no, this is how it's supposed to be. I need to work 40, 50 years and then go and then retire. But I think what happened with in so many people, my clients too, we go through a time where there's just like a big slap in the face or something happens. And for me was the loss of my mother, who was diagnosed with cancer and then passed away within 3 months. And so at that time I was already going through, I was very successful. I love my job. I was very good at it, but something was happening, like restless, right? And then this happened with my mother, and I felt like, well, nothing matters. Everything is stupid, you know? And
Mhm.
so to think about like, well, what do I really want? And who am I? And what, and is this story even mine? And maybe it is, but like, and so maybe, one thinks like, you like to overthink. Um, that's the problem, is we overthink instead of like coming back to
Yeah.
what can I do to make myself feel better? What is happening with my nervous system? Why do I have to take something for anxiety? And now I have all kinds of tools, but before, we're not brought up with these things. I was brought up in Italy, but my mom was from the States. I grew up learning Latin and Greek and philosophy. We don't learn meditation and energy circulation and go to the park and practice with Master You before taking pills. And yes, we need them sometimes, of course, but there's so
Yeah,
many
no, you
names.
are so right. You're so right. It's not a class in school that people take. It's not offered, and it's something that should be. It's basic part of life, or even more basic than math or some of the other subjects that you take in school. It's something that is lifelong, and it's something that affects every area of your life. And to be more mindful and to understand meditation and understand some of the things that you now know is huge. I totally agree. So sorry about the loss of your mom, by the way.
Thank
And
you.
it's interesting though, isn't it, that sometimes it takes like some big thing happening in our life that makes us go, you know what? There's another way. There's another way.
Right.
And yeah, so good for you for finding the good out of the sad.
Thank you. Yes. And there's so many things I share, like what I personally experienced and what works for me, but everyone's so different, right? So like there was a time where physical movement was the only thing that would work for me because I'm like quite hyperactive, as you can probably tell. But can you imagine how fast I would speak back then, or in Italian? And so then it came a time where like physical move, like I looked really fit, I was really buff, but it wasn't enough. Like inside I was dying, and then I walked into this studio where I learned like how to feel my energy body, and I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. And I was so lucky because my teacher had a medical background. So she would explain to me, this is what happens in the vagus nerve and then the brain waves and then,
Right.
the nervous system. And I'm very scientific and I'm like, oh, wow, this is so fantastic. And then what else happens? So I like to share that also in my, classes. I'm like, this is what's happening because a lot of us need to know, like, why are we doing this and
Right.
why is it good? And so because we need to kind of grasp, that you have to hang on to something. But then it comes a point where we need the extra experience. So beyond thinking is like too much, we're like too much up here. And instead, like to connect with the mind of the body and then what's happening in this area. I mean, like the heart, mind. So it's fascinating because then you hear your own language, your own messages, like, and it's not just intuition, that's like one dimension. So in the book, I describe what has worked for me, my visions and dreams of what's happening in my subconscious mind and my dream time, which is a beautiful healing practice. And um,
There you
yeah,
go.
like how to navigate change, like change is natural, but people are like, no, like,
No, no, no
which,
So
doubt. And then
true.
I think that the thing that you learned is how much our brain controls our body.
yeah,
And if we don't figure out ways to allow our brain to be in control of ourselves, a lot of times we think someone else is in control of us versus we're in control of ourselves. And
right.
we're in control of reality. And I think when you learned that, that changed the way you thought about things, didn't you?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a different lens. So that's one thing, is like, how do you really purify your lenses? Because whatever you're seeing through is to question really even just your thoughts, not in a negative way, like who is talking and why are you saying this? Like a dear friend. Instead, we're kind of mean to ourselves all the time. If it was our dear friend feeling like this, we'd be like, oh, you'll be okay, it's fine. But when it comes to us, we're never like that with us. We're like really mean. And
True.
instead, it should be the other way around. It should be like, oh my gosh, of course you have all the rights to be upset about this, but let's like look at it this way. So self-care became like the most important
Yeah.
thing in my life, like still to this day, I don't work before 10 a.m. because it's my morning meditation, whatever I want to do time.
Yeah.
And not everyone can do that. I feel so like, lucky. No, I create that for myself, and if I can't, because I have an appointment or whatever, I will make time.
You
Discipline.
Yeah.
create,
I have
you
to make
create the
time.
life that you want to create. And once you figure that out, it changes who you are as a person and how you interact on a regular basis. Kim has a love question, and it's really interesting. She went on her own journey. Tell us about your self-discovering journey as well, Kim.
Yeah. So a few years ago, my husband passed away, and it made me question love. Like, does anybody really know what love is? And so I went on this year-long quest to figure out the true meaning of love. I was in Haiti, actually, most of the time I did it. And the things that I found out about love just changed my life, rocked my world, and I believe they would anybody's. And so love is huge to me. And I see you, Enrica, and I see love. Like, you just exude love. And so I'm just wondering, where do you see love? Or how do you see what love is?
Oh, so beautiful what you just shared. Thank you. And question. Yes. So the first thing that came to mind is the word acceptance, but more like a receptive surrender.
Mm.
I feel because when I think of the word love, and words are yeah, sometimes explaining is not it doesn't go to the essence of what you want to say. But love, I don't experience it as physical, one dimension, like people that way, even romantic love. So acceptance of oneself first, like I self-love is like the priority of like healing and transformation. Everything that you need to take care of yourself, what that you need to take care of yourself stems from self-love. And then that's the only way that you can accept, everything that's happening. Like, hug all of the pieces of you with, like, cozy. And then
Yes.
you can accept someone else into your life, other relationships, siblings, friends, family members, because we know families are like the most difficult relationships. And, my family still thinks like, oh, my daughter, midlife crisis, 15 years later, and it's okay. And I'm like, so beautiful. Um, so that is my long answer for love: acceptance, self
Very,
first.
very
Mm.
nice.
I
You can
love that.
pre-order your book right now. You can, and then
Yes.
it'll be available. It's pre-order now, and then it'll be available everywhere again on March 3rd, but you can pre-order now. So where's best place? Amazon?
Correct. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles.
Okay. Right. Well, awesome. Definitely check it out. Thanks again, Enrica.
Thank
All
you
right.
so
Thanks,
much,
Kim. All
Kim
right.
and
Take
Neil.
care.
Thank
All right.
you.
That was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and the Love is Podcast, guys. Take care.